Hi, this is Ray with NimbusBase. This tutorial is to get you started on storing data with NimbusBase. You need a computer with a local server, a Dropbox and a Google account, and a text editor of some sort. First, let's create an empty web page and link the script for NimbusBase. Let me just do one quickly here from this tutorial. NimbusBase needs to either run on a server or localhost because it needs to make cross-origin calls, or calls to other web addresses, which is not allowed by local files. To enable that on a Mac, go to System Preferences, Sharing, and check here to enable web sharing. So we just created a file which we would put on the desktop. Now let's open up the localhost folder and put our file inside. Now when we go to localhost, we can see that our file is there. We also will open this up again in Sublime. Awesome, now that we have the page on localhost, let's get authentication working. How it works is like this. We set up app IDs with Google and Dropbox and enter them into NimbusBase to set it up. Then NimbusBase will authenticate and store data on your app's behalf. This is by far the most annoying part. So let's just first copy and paste the JavaScript code into our page. So we can see that for Google, we need the client ID. We're just going to go to Google API console. Check that we have the services turned on for Drive API and Drive SDK. And create a new client ID. For the host name, put in localhost and create it. And we're going to copy and paste this client ID back into our app. For Dropbox, we need two things, the key and secret. I'm going to change the name to NimbusBase test. Now let's get the key and secret for Dropbox. Let me go to Dropbox Developer. Go to My Apps, create an app. And choose app folder instead of full Dropbox. Here you have the app key and the app secret, which I'm going to copy and paste here. Note that this is in development, which means that to really have other users sign in, you have to apply to production status or enable other users in testing mode. So name is still going to be NimbusBase test here. Let me create a link now that allows me to authenticate with Google Drive. Let's go back to the tutorial. Here I'm going to copy and paste this HTML into the page. This JavaScript right here triggers the Google Drive authentication process. I'm going to refresh the page and click on Authorize Me. I'm going to check the authentication in the console. And we can see that now it's true. After a one-time setup, finally we can start playing and storing data with NimbusBase. We can first see that in our Google Drive, we now have a folder with our app name. Let's just create a model. We're going to create a task model to represent a to-do. The name is going to be tasks, and it's going to have two attributes of description and done. After we create this and we go into our NimbusBase folder, we can see that now it has a task folder, which all the items of the task will be stored under. And we're going to create an instance of the task object. Now we can see a new object is created. You can go into the task folder and this object will be there. You can also play with the data in other ways, like getting all, editing, and deleting. Look for code in the last section of the tutorial to see how you really can manipulate the data in different ways. All the changes that you make locally will be reflected in your Google folder. This is the end of the tutorial. Thank you for listening, and for a more comprehensive screencast on building an entire to-do app, look out for another screencast.